Yes, I fixed the fucking bit rate.
Howdy everyone, this is Slither bringing you guys a new TF2 video posing both as a follow-up to my last video but #FixTF2 as well as doubling as a storytime video. Now first of all, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for the reception towards my FixTF2 video. I got some great feedback and support from the comments you guys left, and it means more to me than you can imagine. I'm hoping I'll be able to live up to your guys' expectations for the future, but, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, because for now, I want to give a quick follow-up on my last video before we get into the meat of the video you're watching right now, which is about the times I got scammed. That's right, times, plural, bitch. I got scammed twice. So stay tuned for that, but before I tell you the story, here's the follow-up. So it's been a few months now since #FixTF2, and you're probably wondering, why in the hell did I take so long to make this damn follow-up video? Well, aside from extreme burnout, followed by a severe social media withdrawal, both being caused by my crippling social media addiction, which you can watch my video explaining by clicking the little eye symbol up there, I mostly wanted to wait to see if Valve would actually take the FixTF2 movement to heart. And for the time being anyway, it would appear that Valve has finally woken up. Valve pushed a massive ban wave consisting entirely of bots and cheaters, and as it stands currently, the game is almost completely bot and cheater free. I've been playing TF2 now more than ever since this ban wave, and I can confidently say that I have encountered zero bots or cheaters since this ban wave. Now, while I continue to remain cautiously optimistic for the future of TF2, I would like to sincerely thank the community from the bottom of my heart for what they've done, and I would also like to thank Valve for the work that they did to get rid of the bot problem. I mean, don't get me wrong, this situation was fucking horrible and should have never, ever been allowed to get as bad as it did, but because of our perseverance and unwillingness to back down from this protest, Valve finally listened. But make no mistake, the bots coming back is a very real possibility, and if or when they do, it's up to Valve to stop them. But in the meantime, hop on with some friends, introduce new players, and just enjoy what the game has to offer. We can't possibly know how long this will last. So let's try to make the most out of it. Now with that out of the way, it's time for the main course. The times I got scammed for a collective $150 worth of TF2 items. So here's a little bit of background. I'm a skin/warpaint trader in TF2. I specialize almost exclusively in TF2 weapon trading. I've been trading TF2 skins for roughly 4 years now. I've bought and sold tons of skins like, factory news, stranges, unusuals, professional kill streaks, I mean, you name it, just skins on top of skins on top of skins. But before I began my quote-unquote profession in skin trading, I first began my trading journey back around 2016 when I unboxed my first unusual. A Silver Cyclone second-rate sorcery, to be exact. God, try saying that 15 times fast. So for those of you who were unaware, 2016 was both a good and bad year for unusual taunts. Prior to 2016, unusual taunts were some of the most coveted unusuals around, but by 2017, they were dirt cheap because Valve added unusualifiers to the game. Unusualifiers were a potential bonus item that you could get while unboxing, initially introduced in Halloween that year and becoming a permanent addition to the game. But more than that, for Halloween 2016 only, the rate at which unusuals could be unboxed was doubled. This included unusualifiers, which were already being unboxed en masse as a result of them now being a bonus item. Sadly enough, this wouldn't be the last time that Valve, for some baffling reason, decided to fuck with the rate that unusuals got unboxed. But anyway, now this was good for the average Joe who may never have owned an unusual before this point, but it was bad for traders because this now now meant that their unusual taunts were completely worthless, and I was one of those average Joes. I had never even owned an unusual before 2016, so for this to be my first taste of what it was like to unbox one, I could not have been happier. I loved that unusual like my firstborn child. So you can imagine my dismay when I got fucking scammed out of it. So 2017 was both one of my best years as an early trader, while simultaneously being my worst as well. So back in 2016, I had a small collection of unusual taunts. Most of them were pretty shitty by today's standards, but I absolutely loved my collection. I would unbox unusual fires, or I'd buy them cheap off the Steam market and then use them. And I was loading the fuck up, man. I had all class unusual taunts, looping taunts. I was in love with them, you know? I mean, I was able to collect so many because they were so fucking cheap now. But keep in mind, as much as I loved these taunts, I still knew that I was doing myself a disservice by hoarding them instead of selling them off because, you know, I knew that they were going to be hard to sell because there were so many of them now. So I spent time in trade servers, I added people to negotiate, and basically did my best to just put myself out there and get as many people's attention on these taunts as I could. And after spending so much time trying to sell these things, I became goddamn desperate. So one day I get added by somebody claiming that they wanted to inquire about my unusual taunts. Unsurprising given how many of them I was selling at that point, but unfortunately, they, get this, accidentally reported me in the process. Anyone who has dabbled in TF2 trading already knows where this is going, but you have to remember, I was still decently new to trading at the time, and I wasn't very well versed in the complexities of, you know, different kinds of scam methods on Steam. So when this guy adds me saying that he accidentally reported me, like, I freaked the fuck out, man. I messaged this guy saying back, like, holy shit, like, why would you do that? I have so many items, I don't want to get banned and lose them all. What the hell am I supposed to do? So this guy responds saying that he had, quote, gotten in contact with the Steam admin, because Steam only has one single admin apparently, and in order for me to keep my items, I had to trade them to the Steam admin so he could verify them. God. Oh god, it's so fucking embarrassing telling this story because, like I said, anyone with half a brain would see this and be like, yeah, no, and just like piece the fuck out of there. But I didn't know any better. I was a stupid teenager at the time. I genuinely thought that this was all serious shit. So the guy made a group chat between me, him, and the supposed Steam admin, and the guy was preparing me saying things like, okay, this is really serious, you need to show respect to this guy, make sure to call him sir, and don't be rude to him. I'm just like, okay, I promise, just make sure to tell him that you were mistaken in reporting me. Not long afterward, the supposed Steam admin joins the group. So the fake Steam admin tells me the same stuff that the other guy told me, claiming in order for me to keep my items, I must trade them to his account so he can verify them. And once again, I, being the brain-dead, shit-smeared mongoloid I was, no questions asked, traded this guy my whole fucking collection of unusual taunts. No less than $100 worth of taunts at the time, gone in an instant. But here's the worst part. Within seconds of me sending this fake Steam admin my items, he goes completely radio silent. I sat there for a good 15 fucking minutes waiting for this fake Steam admin to return my items back to me, but as expected, no such trade was sent my way. And then it hit me. Like a monster truck plowing a fucking toddler, I realized, wait a minute, this guy is scamming me, isn't he? But by then, the damage had already been done, my unusuals were in his inventory, and there was nothing I could do about it. Once again, I started to panic. I went messaging this guy, making up some bullshit story like, look man, I know you scammed me, but please, I just want the Silver Cyclone second rate sorcery back. My brother gave it to me, he just died in a car crash last week. It's the only thing I have to remember him by, just some seriously desperate shit. And surprisingly, the guy actually responded saying, oh, don't worry, you'll get them back soon. Fat load of fucking shit that was. So to recap what happened, this guy told me that he was interested in my unusuals, but that he had somehow accidentally reported me in the process. He got in contact with the Steam admin took my items so he could verify them, and I never saw those unusuals again. But you want to know what's even worse? Not only did I get scammed out of my unusual taunts, but 1 month later, I got scammed for an Australian flamethrower. Around this time, I was an avid user of Marketplace.tf, which is a third-party marketplace for TF2 items, and the marketplace then was very different from the marketplace of today. As it stands currently, the only way that you can sell items on Marketplace.tf's website is to put in an application for their sellers program, and I can tell you from personal experience, you would have better luck winning the fucking lottery than you do being accepted as a seller for Marketplace.tf. You would sooner bear witness to the Coca-Cola secret recipe before you see the option to sell items on Marketplace.tf. You'd be allowed access to Area 51 before you'd be allowed to sell anything here. The system for Marketplace.tf sellers program is diarrhea dog shit. It is fucking horrible. They almost never allow anybody to sell on their website, including me, as I have put in multiple applications for it, following all their criteria to a fucking T, and still being denied sellers privileges on this website. But back then, Marketplace.tf was not like this at all. Anybody could sell shit on there if they wanted to, no matter who you were or where you were from. So one day, I got a friend request from a guy who was looking to buy my Australian flamethrower. Now keep in mind that I had just won this thing through Man Up mode a week ago. My first Australian, which I believe I had gotten on my 4th tour. I was so proud of it, but I knew that I wasn't going to use it often because I much prefer the degreaser for its combo abilities, which is something I still stand by to this very day. I think that stock flamethrower pyro is so fucking boring, and I was not at all above selling off this Aussie for a good price. Now at the time, this flamethrower was valued at about like 25 keys, I believe, but this guy who added me wanted to pay me 35 keys in cash. Sounds a little too good to be true, right? Well, my dumbass didn't know how to put 2 and 2 together, so he linked me to a fake version of the Marketplace.tf website. I clicked the link, deposited my flamethrower, hoping to post it for cash on my store. Little did I know that this was not the real Marketplace.tf website, and I ended up losing my flamethrower to the most retardedly obvious phishing scam I possibly could have. I was so fucking embarrassed, I felt so stupid, and from that point on, I finally learned my lesson about TF2 scams, and I never fell for any scam like that again. I remember the following week, I was just so absolutely defeated. I felt like I had just watched my dream home burn to the ground before my very eyes. And I fully believed that I would have just quit and cashed out that same week, but there was a light at the end of the tunnel which will forever be not only one of my most cherished TF2 memories, but what I would wholeheartedly consider to be one of my core memories as a person moving forward. And I would not be the person I am today without it. So not long after I lost my Aussie, I decided to sell off everything else in my TF2 inventory and start from scratch. I had only a few keys, like probably less than 10 keys to my name, and I went into a trade server asking if anyone had any cheap stuff that they'd like to sell. Not the most effective way of advertising, but like I said, I was really down on my luck and had just absolutely nowhere else to turn. So I spent some time in the trade server. People were talking about why they were trading and what they were trading their way up to, and I got to talking about my experiences recently. I was like, yeah, I want to trade up to my dream unusual, but I just got scammed recently, so I'm selling off whatever I can so I can afford to get back into trading. And immediately, the people in the server started to empathize with me. people started talking about their experiences with scammers. Like, there were people who had been scammed for even more than me. There were people who had so much more to lose than I did, but me having just been scammed like a few days ago, everybody felt super duper bad for me. So without any warning, without me even asking or anything of the sort, people just started trading me free stuff. Some people gave me a few duplicate weapons, some scrap metal, some hats. Others gave me strange weapons like Sydney Sleepers and Giratis. Some gave me Steam trading cards, just tons and tons of stuff. And by the time I left the server, my inventory value was effectively doubled. If there's anything to take away from this video, it's that some people in this world will want to hurt you and take away what little you have for themselves. But at the same time, there are also many others out there who want to help you in whatever ways they can, who will show you kindness, generosity, and hospitality whenever you need it. We should all try to be more like these kinds of people, the ones who help others out of a bad situation, who share their wealth with the less fortunate, even if only a little bit. And the reason why we should do this is because the small deeds that you do for others can affect them in ways that you can't even begin to imagine. And in this case, I was shown kindness during a time in which I needed it most. Even if you can't help others in their time of need, be sure to show appreciation for those who want to help you. Take it from me, a guy who lost everything but was able to bounce back thanks in no small part to the amazing people I met on that day back in 2017. Without those guys, I wouldn't have reignited that flame deep within me to get back into the trading scene, and I wouldn't have been able to reciprocate that onto others. This whole experience taught me a whole lot, and without it, I probably wouldn't be the person you see before you today. I met some of my closest friends through TF2 because I just decided to pay it forward and do something nice for them. I met one of my closest friends when I traded him a free rocket jumper to help him practice on a high tower server without killing himself, and that was almost 5 years ago now, and we're still close friends to this very day.
Jesse, get away from me! That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
It just goes to show that paying it forward and doing nice things for the people around you will always be worth so much more than the time or money spent on making people's days just a little bit better. So be sure to pay it forward, always be appreciative of the kindness shown by others, and most importantly, don't fucking scam people, you filthy fucking whore!
Dude, how long does the fire last?